welcome and thank you for coming to our event. I would love to acknowledge, now I know Mrs. Morris is around here somewhere. Oh, there she is. Ladies and gentlemen, our founder, Mrs. Morris, is here today. We're not only celebrating, yes. So we're not only celebrating this lovely relationship we have with Rowan and how proud we are that they're a part of our collection. I just hit my microphone, I'm so sorry. But also we're celebrating 50 years of Morris & Sons business here in Australia, leading the way in needlecraft and tapestry and wool and yarn and all things crafting. So congratulations on 50 years, Mrs. Morris. It's quite the feat. Now, also as a special offer today, the Morrises have extended that any purchases over $100 will receive a free Rowan Magazine, whichever one you choose as well, which we think is a really great offer. But my confession is that I'm very new to the world and I in fact don't knit yet. I promised the girls I'm going to learn to knit, so I think you've probably heard enough from me. So I'd like to give a quick introduction to somebody who definitely knows a lot more about what they're talking about here. As a lifelong knitter, crafter, crocheter and sewer, Trisha's travelled the world experiencing all things in craft. She began her career in a high school needlework and then took on an editorship with McCall's Needlework Crafting and then had a wonderful career in craft publishing, including the likes of Vogue Knitting, and she was the VP and editor of Soho Publishing as well. And then she's also expanded into brand strategies and consultancies and is now the VP of sales for Rowan in New York. Home on a holiday because she's in fact Australian, so we just decided that we'd steal her time while she was here, and she's been very generous to give. I'd love to introduce Trisha Malcolm.
Okay, thanks Morgan. That
You're
was
welcome.
very nice. Well, it's so exciting to be here, and like you guys, I love Rowan, so I have the dream job. So what I do for Rowan is I run sales in North America. So I've got the US and Canada, and I've got a team of about 15 salespeople who travel around to all the stores. So I manage them. And I've done other things with Rowan. I've been with Rowan for about 5 years, and it's pretty amazing. It's quite an amazing job. So a little bit about my background. I was a high school teacher. I taught home ec here in Sydney, and then I went backpacking, and you know how things happen, and you get married, you know. And then I ended up moving to New York, and I've been there ever since. And it's really amazing to be an Australian living in New York City, and also to be an Australian living in New York City and working in this world. I think I must be the only one. So it's quite extraordinary. So I'm going to talk a little bit about Rowan with you today. If you have questions, please raise your hand and I will do my best to answer them. I'm sure you're all somewhat familiar with Rowan, but let me tell you a little bit about the history of the company. So it was started in 1978 in England, actually in Yorkshire, which was the heart of the textile industry in the UK. Have we got any UK people here? Yep, we've got 2. Okay, great. So Rowan's located in Wakefield. Yep. So anyway, it began there, and it was these 2 men, and it started actually out as a weaving company because it was back in the, you know, when that hippie time of weaving was happening in the late 70s. And so they had all these beautiful yarns, and they noticed that people were starting to knit. And they were like, what do? We don't know anything about knitting. How are we going to make that happen? And then at a chance moment, Stephen, one of the owners, bumped into Kaif Fassett. And that was the fortuitous meeting. And Kaif had just learnt to knit. He'd bought some yarn and he'd taken the train back to London and he asked a random person to help him. And this woman taught him to knit on the train. So that's his sort of story. And he still works with Rowan. He still designs and does amazing things. You'll see some of his tapestry work around here too. But I'm sure you're all familiar with who he is, yeah? He's amazing. He's just turned 85 and he's still out and about and teaching, and he's making quilts and doing like incredible things. He's quite amazing. So he said to the original owners, I can help you with colors, I'm an artist. And he was a painter. So he then chose the first palette of Rowan yarn, which was a beautiful 4-ply wool, and there were like 130 colors. you know, and it was amazing. Like you'd have pink and you'd have 18 pinks, you know, because he had to have all those different nuances like an artist would. So that's how the company became a knitting company, and it's been that way ever since. And now Rowan is probably, I don't want to call us a big company. We're actually a small company, but we're probably one of the biggest in the world and have some of the best influence in the world. And Rowan is known everywhere. And I mean, that's an amazing feat unto itself. In 45 years, they've really turned the company into something, you know, quite extraordinary. So I'm very proud to work for Rowan because I think they do design very differently to anybody else. They work with a team of designers in a way that no other yarn company works with. We have some of the best designers in the world. You know, we have Martin Story, as well as Kate and Brandon, and you know, we've got Erica Knight, and we've got these really amazing people. And then we've got some young emerging designers too who are coming up. And it's really interesting to see them and their take in the way that they use Rowan traditional yarns, and they are very traditional. You're not going to see any hand paint in here. This is a traditional, sort of really English knitting company. So I wanted to tell you about our top selling yarns, because by being the top selling yarn, and that's Rowan Felted Tweed. Who's knit with felted tweed before? Yeah. You all love it, don't you? Yeah, anyone who knits with it absolutely loves it. And what's interesting about this yarn is it's been around for about 20 years, but it has this little bit of hairiness. It's got a little depth to the colour. So if you want to knit a sweater, for instance, like a jumper, sorry, and you pick up something in a solid colour, or you pick this up, you can see there's multiple colours within the same yarn. And you've got that lovely tweed effect, which is really part of the Rowan heritage, you know, because tweed yarns are very much a part of that Northern England and Scottish sort of look. So that's globally our bestseller, which I think makes us the best-selling yarn in the world, probably, you know. Our next best-selling yarn by half, so this is full amount, half again is this, so that one's really a runaway hit, is this amazing Kid Silk Haze. And again, that's been in the line for over 20 years. A lot of you are nodding like you're familiar with it. Yeah? Beautiful yarn. It's South African kid mohair, and it's not like mohair from a long time ago. This doesn't itch. Because it's kid mohair, it just doesn't have that itch factor. And then it's also silk, and the silk tempers it. But it has this halo, right? And that halo is what makes it so special. So over on the table here, you will see the team here at Morris & Sons have put together a yarn tasting. So if you've not knit with some of these yarns, you can actually go over there and try them, you know? Now, the other little secret about this yarn is if you put one strand of this with one strand of this and knit them together, it creates an even more beautiful fabric. So there's a lot of people who will not knit this without a strand of this. So if you've never tried that, it's definitely worth trying. Really, really gorgeous yarn. Now, at Rowan, everyone loved the idea of combining these two so much that they were like, why don't we make that yarn? So they looked into making it, and it was so expensive that no one would have bought it. So we didn't do that. But what they did was they created this, which is our newest yarn. And this is called Tweed Haze. And it is lovely and fluffy and soft, also non-itch. And the reason is because it's kid mohair again, and they added alpaca. And alpaca is beautiful against the skin. So this is a lovely, lovely yarn. We've got some, this beautiful yellow pullover here is in this yarn. It knits up really quickly. And this has been such a great launch for us last year that as of September 1st, we're bringing this in a finer weight. So no one has seen that yet. We haven't told anyone. You were the first to kind of know about it. So it'll be called Fine Tweed Haze. So that's coming. It's more like a DK weight, whereas this is more like an Aran weight. More like a 12 ply. And that will be more like an 8 ply. Anyway, it's gorgeous, really lovely colors. So that's what's coming. And then I wanted to introduce you to this because this is one of my favorite yarns. This is called Big Wool. They're very big in Rowan. David, who's the brand manager, calls it putting the name on the tin, basically. And if this is a big wool, he's called it big wool. Yeah. So they're very little there. It's become a bit of a joke. But this is 100% merino wool, really lovely and really quick. And I don't have a lot of knitting time, so I'm more likely to knit with this, you know.
Can I ask, why do you do white in that?
White, there's an off-white.
I know, but it's cream.
It's cream.
But the white is one of the hardest wools to buy.
White is hard because it's hard. There's a lot of processing to get white. Yeah, and it's a lot of chemicals to get white, whereas the creamy colour is closer to the natural sheep shade, right? So that's why you don't find a huge amount of white. You know where you will find it is in baby yarns.
Right, it's just that in the big wool, I knit lots of hats for friends and they're always asking for a white hat.
Oh, they are, yeah. No, it's tough. Yeah, we don't have it. And I can't think of any other chunky wool brand that has a white. No, I'm sorry. Sorry.
Well, there was a secret, but it's processing.
It's processing, yeah, definitely. One of the things too that makes Rowan really special, and we've been doing since the brand was launched, is the Rowan Magazine. And I'm sure, you know, if you're Rowan people, you've seen this before. So we're now on, this is Rowan 72, and some of these garments are here behind me. All of the garments, you know, have information here. So feel free to come and look at them. If you want to try something on, just talk to me. But back to the magazine. This has been produced forever, and it comes out twice a year, and it's a collectible. And people, you know, subscribe to it and save it. And I've met so many people who have every issue, yeah. And it's sad because some people, well, you know, everyone's aging, and as people sort of leave us, their family will often call us up and they'll say, I've got 70-something Rowan magazines. What do I do with them? So you can often find full collections on eBay or whatever the Australian equivalent to eBay is, yeah? You have eBay? Yep.
How much do they go for on eBay?
It depends. It depends. Now, if you find Rowan number 10, that will be hundreds and hundreds of dollars, right? Because it had a very young Kate Moss on the cover. And the following year, they went back to Kate Moss or to her agent to say, could we use her as a model again? And they're like, sure. And the price was just, yeah. So issue 10 is the one. If you ever find it, grab hold of it. But yeah, so the Rowan magazine is very special. And even now, most of our patterns are available digitally, but we don't put the magazine patterns on our digital platform. Okay, you have to buy the magazine for that. And it's a bit of a nightmare, really, because we're all so used to printing off from from your Ravelry patterns, yeah? This becomes very heavy, and it's really a coffee table book more than something that's easy to knit from. But it's the core of Rowan, and we're going to keep it going because it's really important to our brand. It's nice to have the paper, yeah. Yeah, exactly. I'm from a publishing background, so I believe in paper, big time. Yeah. Yep. So as well as the magazine, each season we produce a lot of pattern books. So here's one that's our alpaca collection. This is this gorgeous alpaca sweater here from the cover. These are available as downloads if you want to get them, but we also have books. You'll see that we have loads of books here in the store. We have a magazine wall in the back here. And while we're talking about magazine, if you spend $100, you can choose a free magazine. Yeah. So that's always good. Yep. So that's basically Rowan. I could go over all the yarns with you. We've got samples of them all here. So if anyone has questions about yarns, come and ask. I did want to mention two other things about Rowan. We've just recently launched this thing called Rowan Connect, which is an online learning platform. And I know there's some people here today who've been to Rowan Connect. So that's always fun. If you haven't found that, go and Google it and then sign up for the newsletter. And then you can come and do classes, and then there's some free content as well. You'll catch me on there interviewing people. I don't know how that happens, but that's what they asked me to do. So it's really fun, and it's been a really great way for us to build our Rowan community globally. So that's really nice. And I also wanted to tell you about this fabulous knit-along. Have you got your square? There's a really beautiful knit-along going on with Rowan at the moment. And it's a blanket, and it's for the holidays. So it's very sort of Christmassy. No, it is. And so this is square number 1. So it's all snowflakes, and I think there's reindeer and trees, and it's really, really beautiful. So it's just started if you want to join along on that, because the blanket's gorgeous, isn't it?
Once a week you get a new pattern.
Yeah.
Yeah. Everyone's like, oh.
I know, this is actually our biggest knit-along globally ever.
It's my first one, and I'm
First one?
yeah, it's beautiful.
Yeah.
Good support.
Yes. We do have really good support. And then I think there's a cast-off party at the end that you can join to say, when you're done. So, but isn't it beautiful? And there's different colorways that you can choose, and it's all in Rowan felted tweed, because why wouldn't you want to live with felted tweed for the rest of your life? And this is an heirloom that you'd be creating. It's really gorgeous. Yes?
Do we get to that through Rowan Connect?
Yes. Yep. Or if you just go onto knitrowan.com, you'll find the pattern there. And then the yarn is all here for you. Yep. Thank you very much for that. I can't remember. Sorry? It goes through till October.
But there's no deadlines to finish yet.
Yep. Yeah, thank you for doing that. But some people do the 4 squares and make pillows, cushions, But the blanket itself is absolutely stunning. It's designed by Martin Story, who's a truly gifted person and a beautiful human being. Yes?
Do you use the Australian wool in your yarn?
Australian wool, yes. I believe in big wool, it's merino that's bought from Italy, and they make that yarn in Italy. But all of our yarn is mulesing free. Yes, we do use mulesing free Australian merino through Italy, because Italy buys the best merino in the world, and it's usually from here, from New Zealand, and a little bit from Spain and South Africa, I think. Yep. Any questions? Anything that you're interested in knowing about Rowan? Anything about, yeah? Yeah.
Can you bring back Karma? That was my favourite yarn.
Okay. Who has a favourite Rowan yarn they want to come back? Yeah, see? What's yours?
Rowan Cocoon.
Oh, I know, I love cocoon.
Please.
Yeah.
Oh.
Did you say you're short?
20.
Short 20. Oh. If you go onto Ravelry, you may find them.
I tried it.
Oh, you did? I'm so sorry. Yeah. We hear this a lot from people all over the world. Oh, please bring back this, please bring back that. However, we did bring back a yarn, and I saw it here a little while ago. We used to have a yarn called All Seasons Cotton that was a cotton and acrylic, and it's a heavier weight yarn, and so that acrylic made it so it wasn't too heavy. Is that it there? Yes. Yeah, that's it. So everyone wanted this yarn to come back, so we brought it back. We couldn't call it the same name because that confuses people on Ravelry. So it's now called 4 Seasons Cotton instead of All Seasons Cotton. But that's come back, and it's selling really well because there were people who were really dedicated to that, especially in places like in the southern US where it's too hot to wear a wool. That way you can get a heavier weight yarn, but without that, like a big woolly thing, And speaking of cottons, I know we're coming up to spring, summer. Rowan has some of the best cotton yarns, so if you're interested in those, I can show them to you. I wanted to show you this yarn too. This is one of my favourites. They've just brought out these bright colours. One of these makes a hat. I knit so many of these for the holidays last year. It's soft, lightweight. Feel this. Isn't it lightweight? Yeah, so pass that around. Yeah, pass it around. No, it's called brush fleece. Here, if you feel these two. Here. Completely different, right? Yeah. So pass those around. I'm also going to pass around the felted tweed and the kids' silk haze as well, so you can feel those if you've never felt them before. And then here is our new tweed haze. There you go. Oh, beautiful. Look at this.
So that's the felt.
This is felted tweed. Isn't that beautiful? Yeah, it's gorgeous, isn't it? But see how beautifully the colours play with each other? You know, and because of the tweediness, they sort of blend in a way a little better than if it was a solid yarn. You know, isn't that gorgeous? Absolutely beautiful. What are you making with it?
The patterns are right, and I used them, so I don't know what to do with them.
Okay, any suggestions? Any suggestions? You could make a circular shawl.
It's many needles.
Yeah, I'm sure it's many.
Then around.
Yeah. Yeah, it's gorgeous, isn't it? It would also make a beautiful cushion.
Exactly, but I can't work out how to make that. Stop growing. Stop. Yes.
Okay. See, Mrs. Morris, you talked about Mrs. Morris makes, see all the needlepoint kits that are here? She makes all of those into either pillows or cushions or framed things.
If you wait long enough, you
Yeah.
get an answer.
So talk to Mrs. Morris before you leave, okay? Yes. Yes. You could frame it as a wall hanging. Like actually work out, you'd have to sort of stitch through some heavy board, you know, to get it to not roll at the edges, but you could do that. But I think it'd be a gorgeous pillow. Yeah. Yeah. No. Once you take that, you're going to lose a tiny bit in sewing, right? And then once you dome it by stuffing it, it will shrink down a little bit, and it'll actually be a really nice size. Yeah. 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 And then if you have that on its own chair, it will just look stunning. Yeah. Yeah. Beautiful. Do we have any more questions? Has anyone got anything they want to know about? You can ask me crazy questions.
You know your publications, the 2 a year, how many people would it take to create one of those?
Okay, so the question is, how many people does it take to create this magazine twice a year? So I can tell you that. We have a brand director and a brand manager. So they come up with the concept and the direction. And then every magazine has the designers listed on it. So our head designer, Lisa, sends out a brief to all of these designers, telling them what they're looking for. So for instance, this issue was a lot of Kid Silk Haze. So the Kid Silk Haze I showed you earlier, this gorgeous, frothy, stunning thing, we had 39 colours, and someone decided it wasn't enough. So we went in one season from 39 to 81 colours. And they're here. I'm not sure. Are they over there? Over there. So 81 colours. So because we needed to then say to people, oh my God, you must knit with this, they decided half this magazine would be in Kid Silk Haze. So the brief goes out to the designers, that comes in, and then there's a team that selects, yeah? And that's, you know, the brand directors and the head designer. So they'll select the patterns, and then once they're selected, they come up with the design specs, and then that is sent to knitters, like to a pattern writer who writes from the sketch, from the designer, and then they go out to knitters. So you're already at loads and loads of people. Then it comes back, and then it goes to photography. So you've got the photographer, you've got the photographer assistant, you've got the digital assistant, you've got the stylist, the hair and makeup person, and that's another team who you just hire for the magazine, yeah? And then once photography's done, the art director selects the photos that are used, and then it goes into layout, so you've got another team that does layout. And then there's proofing, and you've got someone whose job it is just to make charts, right? Yes, yes, that's this. Yeah. There it is. Yeah, would someone like to model? There we go. So after that, layout happens, and then it goes to what we call pre-press, and someone there gets all the files ready for printing, and then it goes to the printer. And then it has to go to be mailed out, so that's another group. So there's a lot of steps just into months. Yeah.
Oh, right.
Yeah, walk along. Sorry? Can I just have a look? No, this is Moordale. Yeah. Moordale is wool and alpaca. You don't carry Moordale, do you? No. Now, this is actually knit in Moordale, but we don't have Moordale here, but you could substitute. If you want to make this, come and talk to me and I'll find you a yarn that you could do that
So
way.
when the designers are on your payroll?
They are actually. No, they're on the payroll. They paid a retainer. And so we're one of the only companies that does the retainer thing, but yeah.
And the knitters on your payroll as well?
No, the knitters tend to be women who, usually women, who are just at-home workers in the UK. Yeah, and we do the knitting in the UK because if there's a problem, they tend to be close by, and it's easy to check and fix mistakes and all that stuff. But when we do production knitting, that's done in Asia. So for instance, say this, we might have wanted 20 of these knit to go to stores around the world. So then that goes to production knitting much later. Does that make sense? Means we have a team that just works on producing samples. So they'll make 20 of these or whatever we would need in quantities. Yeah.
Yeah. Knitters.
Yes. Yes, there are some amazing knitters in the world. Yeah.
And can I ask, how do you become a designer
How do you become a designer?
at university?
Well, because our designers are UK based, they tend to go to study textiles at university. Like I know in the States there's only 1 or 2 colleges you can do that, so American designers tend not to be formally educated in design, but the UK designers have all pretty much gone through textile college. There's one in London, there's, there's several of them, yeah. I just can't pull the names out right now. And so people who go to college for textiles tend to machine knit because they're preparing them for jobs within the design industry, okay? And so most of them don't do a lot of hand knitting, but then every now and again you'll get someone who does. So we have Georgia Farrell, who's one of our designers. She's about 30 years old, and Rowan actually picked her up because she preferred hand knitting, and they picked her up when she was still in college, gave her a job at Liberty in London, when we used to have a Rowan store there, and then actually gave her work and sort of groomed her for her hand knitting career. And then once she graduated college, we hired her, and she now works full-time for Rowan, designing. Yeah, so that's how that works.
Do I take all, pretty much all of the patterns, because I just tend to always just knit off the pattern, I kind of tweak it a bit.
Okay, so I know you probably can't hear, right? What she's saying, what's your name?
Trina.
Trina's saying she often will take a pattern from the magazine or from one of our pattern books, and then she tweaks it and makes it her own. And we encourage that. Yes, these are lovely, but they're a starting point. So some people just need a pattern and they need that to build on, but yet other people see things differently, and by all means play with it, you know? Change the colors or change it in some way, you know? Like if you see, say for instance this, you know, you might not want a vest out of this, but you might love this. I mean, what a great blanket would that make? Yeah, it'd be gorgeous, and it'd be a beautiful, you know, row of cushions on your couch, you know? So there's a lot you can be inspired by and then actually go and do, and we encourage that, you know?
Well, I've knitted a number of Rowan projects before, such as this one. And when I come up to a particular step in the pattern, I notice I want to use that technique. It's like not good for this one. Like, so for example, this one, instead of seaming sorry, I could run there with this.
Yeah.
When you start to shape the shoulder or the armhole, it ends up stair step. I don't go that way.
Yeah, I do something else too.
More advanced knitting techniques,
Yeah.
which give a better finish. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I do know what you mean. Okay, so you probably, could you hear that or no? Yeah? Okay, so the way I look at that is they make a basic pattern, right, that pretty much anyone can pick up and do. But I encourage all of you to learn new techniques. And it makes you a better knitter, it makes your finishing better, and you'll get something that's sort of better for you. And I mean, we're all spoiled because we have YouTube, and there's, you know, you can learn anything on YouTube. At Rowan, we have Rowan Connect, where we have classes where you can learn that. I used to work at Vogue Knitting, and we have Vogue Knitting Live, where there are lots of classes and things. So there's lots of ways that you can learn new techniques, and I agree with you. They are very basic patterns, and they have to be because there's a standard. Because you should be able to pick up a Rowan magazine or a Rowan publication and be able to follow it. But I encourage you to keep learning your techniques and making better garments. Yeah, and yeah.
Do you have any cashmere?
We do have a cashmere, yeah.
They're expensive, I imagine.
Yeah, there's a Rowan pure cashmere, which doesn't come into Australia because it would probably be $120 a skein by the time we got it here, right?
Okay.
Yeah. So it doesn't come. However,
Is it that much in the UK or?
I'm not sure what it is in the UK. I know it's. I know. Can you do special orders on that sort of thing? I know. Yeah. So talk to the store, and if you would like to spend the money, I'm sure they'll help you. Well, hang on one second.
Like, is it that expensive everywhere else? Do you have it in the US?
In the US, it's $70 US a ball, and I'm just doing that equivalency kind of thing. Yeah. Our cashmere, though, is beautiful cashmere. If you want to know about it, it's actually produced for us by a company out of Scotland, and they produce all the cashmere for Chanel and Burberry and.
Barry?
Sorry?
You know the brand Barry? Scottish
No, I don't know.
Barry?
No. Yeah. This is really beautiful cashmere, so that's another reason it's so expensive. But what we do have here, and I can't see it to show you. Sorry? Cotton cashmere.
That's this one here.
Ah, yes.
Would it be $120 landed in Australia? How much is it in the UK?
I'm not sure because I don't deal in that market. I was saying it's about $70 a skein in the US. So that's kind of the equivalent. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
You said that you buy wool from New Zealand. Would you ever consider doing the possum wool that they do there?
We talked, the question is, would Rowan consider doing the possum and wool that comes out of New Zealand? Well, yeah, there's a reason for that. And the reason that, yeah, they're native Australian animals, but they're pests in New Zealand, yeah. Okay, at the very beginning of my time at Rowan, I took them that yarn and I said, why don't you guys do this? Because it's such a gorgeous yarn. And they decided, they did a sort of a focus group, and everyone was freaked out about how weird the possum was, okay? And it's because, like in the US, that yarn, it came into the US market, and a lot of people didn't buy it because they just were so unsure, because you talk about a possum in America, it's a mangy thing that goes through your garbage can, you know? Whereas we have these beautiful marsupial possums. They're not even related, you know? So it's very hard to sell possum to Americans, we've discovered. But I wish we could do that, but that's why we don't do it. Yeah. And you asked a question about why is wool so expensive? Wool is so expensive because it takes how long between, how long, do you know this, from when the animal's born to the first shearing? Yeah, okay, so 18 months. So that animal has to be fed and watered, and it's got to have all of the vet stuff and all that in the first 18 months. So by the time you've invested that much in the animal and you get the fleece off it, you know, you won't have farmers unless they can make the money back. Yeah, yeah. And certain fibres are more expensive than others. Obviously, cashmere. Anything that's got to be hand pulled from an animal as opposed to shorn, like yak, for instance. You can't shear a yak. Just the mere thought of that. A yak is like a big water buffalo thing.
Which country?
Mongolia. And we have a cotton yak yarn too. It's
That's a nice
gorgeous.
yarn.
It's a lovely yarn, yeah. Yeah, beautiful, soft. And it's also warm. So cotton yak and the cotton cashmere, if you're not able to wear wool next to your skin, those yarns are like perfect. They'll keep you warm because they've got enough natural sort of woolliness in there, but the cotton is comfortable against your skin. Yeah, they're lovely. Yes.
You're coming into autumn, winter
Yeah.
for the European market.
Mm-hmm.
What are some of the knitted fashion trends that we haven't seen?
Okay, good question. We've got a lot of felted tweed coming in for this season. And in terms of trends, there's a lot of yoke sweaters we're seeing. There's a lot of top down, so we're tending, it's very difficult to get the UK designers to do top down. Who knits top down? Top down, you start at the neck and work down? Okay. Now, in the UK, people have always just knitted pieces, just like they were dressmaking, and sewn them up, right? And I like that because it depends on the yarn you're using. Sometimes the seam will give you more structure and make a garment fit better, but so many people want to do top down. There's a perfect example over here of top down. So,
I think everyone's moving to that model because no one wants to see it.
I know.
Doesn't want to see it.
Yeah. Now, I have a problem with that, really, because I think people are afraid of seaming, you know? And once you learn to seam properly, it's a thing of beauty. You know, when you pull that thread and the seam marries together, it's one of my favourite moments in life.
I think you can put in a false seam though, and you can
You
get
can.
structure.
You can.
And I think knitting in the round is quicker and even. Your underarms always match. You don't jump rows.
You can try it on, yeah.
And I think Rowan needs to get with the times and have more.
Well, okay, you and me both. You and me both. I, as the representative to Rowan for the North American market, which is predominantly top down right now, I've been at them for years. Please, 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 more top down. But because they work so far ahead, the season that you've just asked about, our autumn winter coming now, we've got a lot of top down design, finally. So I'm really excited about that. And we do have some, I saw one top down garment here today. So there is a little bit of top down, but they get excited in the UK. They go, oh, we've got a top down design coming. One. Anyway, they think they've given me, you know, all my dreams have come true when they do one. But you'll find next year, when you get to autumn winter next year, there'll be a lot more top down. Red is, fashion-wise, red is the top colour for next year, next fall, winter.
That really bright red?
No, more like a, well, I guess shades of red, whether you want bright or whether you want more muted. You know, I think we all have a red that works for us, either a blue-based red or a yellow-based red, and it just depends on your colouring, you know. So if someone's not sure what their red is, come and talk to me and bring me your phone and I'll help you find the right red and take a photo so you know what to look for in future, because that's really an important thing. So pink, it's been hot pink. And I know a lot of that was driven by Barbie, right? But we've gotten past that now. So we're going on to reds. I've just lost my train of thought. Did that answer the question? Yeah. In terms of other trends, cardigans are a really big trend, whether they're long or whether they're short, but it's a lot of cardigans.
Is the cropped
Still
going along?
Still going along, yeah. If you like cropped, you know, there's always going to be some kind of cropped, you know. But it depends whether you can wear that or it fits you or, you know.
One thing I like about Fleece is that they've expanded their size range and they've got,
Yes.
and I think that's
Yes.
really quite lovely that
Yeah.
they've got both.
Yeah. Yes, so I think it was about 2 years ago, Rowan increased their entire range of sizes. So we went down to an extra, extra small because we got a lot of requests for that. And then we went up, I think, 4 or 5 sizes. So I don't know what the centimetres are, but we go up to an 82-inch bust. And that's significant.
So is crochet on the trend as well?
Crochet is hugely, hugely trending at the moment. I don't think at Rowan we do enough crochet, and I don't think it's the crochet that Rowan does is as on trend as it could be, but there's some other great companies out there doing really cool crochet right now. Any other questions or anything I can help you with? I'm going to be here till we close this afternoon. I'm more than happy to help you if you want to help with a project or to choose something to make, because of course if you haven't knit with Rowan before, you must, because life gets better with Rowan. And so I can help you with questions, I can help you choose colours, anything like that. And then the staff are also here too, and they're amazing and helpful too.
Is all of that from one book?
No, these are all from different books.
A lot of the books are on the table.
Yeah.
They're from.
That they relate to?
Yeah. Now, the people I gave yarn to, here we go. I was going to say, did you run off with it? I wouldn't blame you. Okay, thank you so much for coming.